Hi guys, it's Jelly from Feeling Jelly Arts here. Winter has finally arrived here in Finland, and there's still a couple more months until my next convention, so I thought that it would be nice to make a little bit of a recap of this year, so let's go. As you may already know, this year I made my business official. Until now it has only been a hobby of mine, and now I started my business for real. I really think I had so many challenges with my business this year. It's not easy to be a first-time business owner. There's so many rules and regulations and tax things that I had to find out at the beginning of the year. But I think I'm finally settling in to this role as a new business owner. There were also a lot of firsts with conventions this year for me. I did 7 conventions in total. It was a bit less than what I kind of wanted to do this year, but I didn't get accepted to all of the events that I wanted to do. So 7 conventions combined, and 5 of them were completely new for me, which was exciting of course, but also nerve-wracking because it's easier to go to conventions where you've been already. I also started doing YouTube for the first time this year, and I did the first ever vendor spaces, my first ever outdoor market, so it was a year of many firsts. I think we could look a bit more into the events this year. So my first event of the year was Tampere Kupli at the end of March. I had come into the convention with a 6-month break from doing conventions, and so I was really nervous, and I think my mood was really affected by a really early start on the Saturday morning. We had to be ready to set up at 6 a.m, which is way too early for me. I had set my expectations quite high. I was doing this event for the first time ever, but I had heard that many people do really well in this particular event, and I didn't quite meet those high expectations, so I was quite moody the entire weekend. I was also really nervous vlogging for the first time, basically feeling embarrassed talking to myself and the camera behind the booth for the first time ever. I think, or at least I hope, I have gotten better with that by time. Also, I think my English pronunciation has gotten better, but I still take a lot of thinking breaks, I guess. But I'm not that embarrassed anymore about doing it, so I think I will keep doing vlogs even in the future. Second convention was Hypecon at the start of June. It was also a new convention for me, and it was the furthest one from my home, so it took almost 6 hours by train, I think. I really enjoyed that convention. The hall was a bit moist during the weekend, but the crowd was nice. I made really good sales, and I just think it was overall a good convention. Again, there was quite a long break since the last convention, so next year I hope to do them a bit more consistently. Hypecon started kind of a string of conventions in the summer, and I was still quite energized for that convention, but then in the later conventions I was already quite tired from working so much. So just 3 weeks after Hypecon, I did my 3rd convention of the year, which was Kota Expo. It was organized for the first time ever this year. We had a slight increase in conventions for the year, as there was also Jureicon, that was the first edition, and Animecon World was planning to take place this year but had to cancel. Hopefully we see these conventions returning next year. So I really liked how Kota Expo was set up. I liked how the hall was organized, but I just think they sold too many vendor spots. considering the amount of attendees. Also, they had this VIP hour, which I think was completely useless. I'm hoping they don't do this in the Finnish convention scene again. This year they were taking place in the summer, in the middle of the convention season, but next year they are going to be moving to November to a better time slot. I think it will be a good change for them. So finally in July we had NekoCon. It is my favorite convention of the year. Since it's my hometown convention, I think I just vibe with the people differently there. I think everyone is in great mood. Sales are great. Actually, despite being much smaller than Tampere Kupli and Hypecon, my sales were even better than those conventions. So yeah, I just always end up having a great time there. NekoCon only has about 2,000 attendees every year, and comparing to Hypecon and Tampere Kupli that have way more attendees, I think the sales this year were great. Actually, NekoCon sales surpassed Tampere Kupli and Hypecon by a slight margin, but still surpassed them. So if you are thinking about which conventions to attend, you should really consider where is your target audience. For me, especially, NekoCon is a great convention as it is anime focused, and yeah, that's the kind of merch I sell. So definitely consider not only the size but also the type of the convention. At the beginning of August we also had Matsukon in Oulu. I was visiting my assistant Rota as they live out there. It was quite a disastrous weekend. If you have watched my blog, you would know that the table crashed. Rota had some kind of strange allergy, and the venue was just really hot and humid, but it was nothing that we couldn't survive. I think the sales were great, and I might be returning next year. Matsukon is a bit smaller in size than other conventions, but my costs were quite low, so I wasn't worried that the sales numbers were a bit down. But considering any other convention I did in Oulu, Matsukon did much better, so yeah, I was quite happy. So I especially like about smaller conventions that I can have the time to converse with my customers and all other attendees as well. Please don't think I'm a creep, but sometimes I remember your stories quite well and can connect you the next time we meet. For example, one person this summer told me that they plan to get a collection of 10 pillows from me, and I think they were at 6 the last time we spoke. And another person has told me that they own every single piece of Rengoku merch that I sell, which is also quite a lot. So thank you for sharing, guys. I really have a fun time talking about our favorite fandoms, my favorite fandoms, and your favorite fandoms as well. Yeah, so since everything I sell is something that I'm also really into, it's really a good time. So the last Finnish convention of the year for me was Drakon at the beginning of September, and it is also one of the highlights of the year for me, as it is the only 3-day convention that has the sale time also for the whole duration of the weekend, and it just makes such a big difference in the sales. It is my best-selling show. This year we didn't quite break last year's numbers, but it was still a really good show again. I also heard from other artists that this year their sales were going down. I think since Drakon increased the amount of sellers outside in the park, it made the sales a bit worse for everyone. The convention is still great, so I will do my everything to be there again next year. So this year I was selling outside at one of these Christmas market cottages, and well, it was a good experience for me. I just think I am not meant for selling outside. Despite it being a great weather, sun was shining the entire weekend, I was just too afraid of all the bees, and it was so nerve-wracking to to like not know if the weather was going to be bad or good ahead of the convention, so I don't think I am going to risk it ever again by selling outside, so I'm hoping that some inside vendor spots will open for me in the future. So at the beginning of October I did my very first convention abroad. It was Närcon Expo at Södertälje in Stockholm, Sweden. So the convention itself was on the smaller side and it was quite slow, and I ended up packing early, but aside from the convention itself, it was a really good experience. Now I know that I can really travel abroad with my stuff. It's not gonna be a problem with my merch. Of course, there are some luggage restrictions when flying, but I know now that I can really pull off an overseas convention, and I'm looking to widen my horizons by traveling to hopefully Estonia and Sweden again next year. Especially I'm looking forward to Närcon Summer. It is the biggest convention in the Nordics for anime, and it takes place in Linköping in Sweden, and just now they changed their application process from first come first serve to portfolio based, and I know the competition is going to be fierce applying to that convention, but I'm really hoping to pull it off, so hopefully I'm seeing you guys again next year in Sweden. Like I said, this year was a year of many firsts. I did my first vlog, my first ever vendor space, my first ever outdoor space, and my first ever convention abroad. And actually I sold almost 3,000 stickers, which is crazy, and 750 acrylic charms, 300 magnets, almost 300 button pins, and 150 pillows, and so much more. And I just can't help but shake this. I just can't help shake this feeling that how is there so many, like I'm even at loss for words. Do you really like this stuff so much? Like, how is this possible, basically? Amazing. These numbers really remind me of how grateful I am for all the support from my family, my assistants, the artist colleagues, and all of you who follow, watch, or buy from my shop. It really means the world to me that you are here and that you support me. Thank you so much. Please leave a comment below if we met at a convention this year, if you have any memories to share from conventions this year. If you watched my vlogs this year, share anything you feel like sharing. If you have any questions about doing conventions and artist studies here in Finland, I will gladly answer any. And please also check my other socials from below. Next year, I really hope to get accepted into most of the conventions that I apply to. I really want to try and make my dream of becoming a full-time entrepreneur a reality, but it is never so much said that you get in every event. But I'm really hoping that my luck changes for next year and that I get in for the most of the events. I plan on doing 13 of them, so that is almost twice as many as I did this year. My first two conventions will be Desukon in Lahti. I will be in the vendor hall this time around. I was accepted to the artisan booth, and then I will be doing Konekokon 1 week later, making these conventions my first ever back-to-back conventions. So Konekokon is taking place in Kuopio. It is a smaller convention, and I will be also doing a bigger table at the vendor space this time around. Excited to see what next year will bring, and I really want to wish everyone happy holidays and see you in year 2025. Bye.